Monsters brings laughter and joy with its adorable monster family. But behind the glitz on screen are the tragic, real-life stories of its cast. From heartbreaking losses, broken marriages, to battles with illness and addiction, the fates of 29 stars have left their mark on audiences, not only through their roles, but also through their tearful, personal tragedies. Let's explore the life journeys of these actors and pay tribute to the legacies they left behind. Let's get started. Yvonne De Carlo as Lily Munster. Yvonne De Carlo, born Margaret Yvonne Middleton, was born on September 1, 1922 in Vancouver, Canada. In 1964, at the age of 42, she took on the role of Lily Munster in the series The Munsters, portraying a graceful, elegant vampire wife who loved her husband and children very much, becoming the heart of the Munster family. The image of Lily, cold but still feminine, helped De Carlo affirm her name in the history of American television. Yvonne De Carlo breathed her last breath on January 8, 2007, at the age of 84, after many years of fighting cardiovascular complications. She was cremated in California without a solemn funeral, true to her private personality in the last years of her life. At the time of her death, De Carlo's net worth was estimated at 2.5 million chows, largely thanks to a storied film career that spanned 60 years, from dazzling Technicolor films to her role as Lily Munster, which made her an icon for generations. Her personal life was as dramatic as her movies. After high-profile relationships with Howard Hughes, Robert Stack, and Iranian Prince Abdul Reza Pahlavi, she found peace with stuntman Bob Morgan, whom she married in 1955. But a cruel twist of fate struck in 1962 when Morgan suffered a near-fatal accident on the set of How the West Was Won, leaving him permanently disabled. De Carlo stepped in, taking on the role of Lily Munster as a financial lifeline to support her husband and children. The pressure eventually led to the dissolution of their marriage in 1973, closing a long chapter of silent sacrifice for a star once hailed as the Queen of Technicolor. In her later years, Yvonne De Carlo faced a series of health problems, including a stroke in 1998 that left her severely weakened. However, she is still remembered for her iconic roles such as Sephora in The Ten Commandments, 1956, and Mary Magdalene in The Sword and the Cross, 1958. Yvonne De Carlo's death left behind a legacy that was both great and bitter, like an epic film about pride, glory, and loss that not every star could bear. Beverly Owen as Marilyn Munster. Beverly Jane Owen, born Beverly Jane Ogg, was born on May 13, 1937 in Ottumwa, Iowa. In 1964, at the age of 27, she played Marilyn Munster in The Munsters, playing the rare, normal granddaughter of a family of monsters. Marilyn's innocent and charming beauty created a striking, contrasting, captivating highlight for viewers throughout the first 13 episodes of this famous series. Beverly Owen passed away on February 21, 2019, at the age of 81, after a long and painful battle with ovarian cancer. She passed away peacefully at home, surrounded by her loved ones, leaving behind a huge outpouring of grief among the Munsters fan community. There was no word on a lavish funeral or memorial service, befitting the quiet lifestyle she had chosen after leaving Hollywood. Owen's net worth at the time of her death was estimated at $500,000, mostly from her television roles before she retired from the entertainment industry and lived a modest life. Owen's personal life was as sad as a failed romance. After shining on The Munsters, she abruptly left the show after just 13 episodes to marry celebrity producer Jon Stone. A decision hailed as a love affair, it was also the beginning of tragedy. The marriage lasted only 10 years before ending in divorce in 1974, leaving Owen to raise their two daughters, Polly and Kate, alone in financial hardship and with deep regrets about her interrupted career. Beverly Owen tried to recover from the shock of her marriage by returning to school, earning a master's degree in American history in 1989, and choosing a quiet life away from the spotlight. She then went through a long battle with ovarian cancer towards the end of her life. Owen's fate is like a sad melody, reminding us that behind the innocent roles on screen sometimes lies a life full of hardship, sacrifice, and regret. Harvey Korman as Dr. Leinbach. Harvey Herschel Korman was born on February 15, 1927, in Chicago, USA, and began his film and television career in the early 1960s. He was 37 years old when he joined the Munsters in 1964, playing Dr. Leinbach, a humorous sidekick doctor in a single episode, bringing his signature satirical humor. Although only appearing briefly, Harvey Korman's witty performance left a deep impression on fans of this hit sitcom. Harvey Korman died on May 29, 2008, at the age of 81. The cause was severe complications from an abdominal aortic aneurysm, a dangerous and extremely painful condition that he had battled for months before his death at UCLA Medical Center. He was buried at Woodlawn Cemetery in Santa Monica, the final resting place of many other Hollywood stars. His net worth was estimated at $25 million at the time of his death, the result of decades of work on stage and television, including classic roles alongside Mel Brooks and on The Carol Burnett Show. Harvey Korman's personal life was not without its ups and downs. He had a 24-year marriage to Donna Ehlert, but they divorced in 1977, leaving many scars. A second marriage to Deborah Fritz brought him peace, with whom he had two daughters, but Korman's health continued to decline. The pressure of maintaining his comedic reputation, coupled with complications from his illness, cast a shadow over the final years of his life, despite his efforts to make people laugh. Paul Lynde as Dr. Edward Dudley. Paul Edward Lynde was born on June 13, 1926, in Mount Vernon, Ohio. In 1964, at the age of 38, he appeared on The Munsters as Dr. Edward Dudley, a brief supporting role that still carried Lynde's trademark sharp, humorous, and sarcastic style. In just one episode, he left a lasting impression with his intelligent, mischievous performance, contributing to the unique flavor of this famous monster sitcom. Paul Lynde died on January 10, 1982, at the age of 55. The cause of death was determined to be a heart attack, which occurred while he was sleeping alone at his home in Beverly Hills. Lynde's body was cremated and buried next to his family at Amity Cemetery in Ohio, a peaceful place that still evokes sadness in the hearts of his adoring fans. At the time of his death, Lynde left behind an estimated net worth of $7 million, amassed from thousands of television appearances. Most notably, his legendary role on Hollywood Square. Paul Lynde's personal life was marred by tragedy. Born into a large family, he lost his beloved brother in World War II and grew up with deep psychological trauma. Being a gay man in an era of harsh Hollywood prejudice, he was forced to hide his true identity, which took a heavy emotional toll. In real life, Lynde struggled with alcoholism, was arrested multiple times for DUI, and engaged in reckless behavior that nearly ruined his career. His personal relationships also suffered, largely because he had to hide his true self from society at the time. Nevertheless, Paul Lynde remains a comedic genius with a sharp, intelligent and unmistakable charm. He has conquered audiences with his witty exchanges on Hollywood Square and left his mark with the role of Uncle Arthur in Bewitched. John Fiedler as Warren Bloom. John Donald Fiedler was born on February 3, 1925 in Platteville, Wisconsin. In 1964, at the age of 39, he appeared in an episode of The Munsters as Warren Bloom, a minor character who was nonetheless memorable thanks to Fiedler's subtle performance, portraying shyness with hidden depth. With his ability to turn his voice into a signature, Fiedler helped complete the Munsters' portrait of a family of comedic monsters. John Fiedler died on June 25, 2005, at the age of 80, after a battle with cancer. He died at the Lillian Booth Actors Home in New Jersey, a facility for retired actors. His remains were cremated and his ashes were scattered across Long Island, ending a career that spanned more than half a century. At the time of his death, his net worth was estimated at $2 million, a modest sum, but well-deserved given his enduring contributions to film and voice acting. Most notably, his immortal role as Piglet in Winnie the Pooh. Fiedler's life, despite his rich artistic legacy, was somewhat sad. He never married, lived a private life, and lived mostly alone. Fiedler continued to work until the end of his life, maintaining his connection to Disney through numerous voiceover projects. From 12 Angry Men, A Raisin in the Sun, to appearances on The Bob Newhart Show, he left behind a simple yet deeply moving legacy. Jane Withers as Fanny Pike. Jane Withers, born April 12, 1926 in Atlanta, Georgia. At the age of 38, made a brief appearance in an episode of The Munsters as Fanny Pike, a minor character who was memorable for reflecting the self-assured spirit of the golden girl she had once been. This return to the screen also showed that Jane had retained her energy and charm, even if her childhood glamour had somewhat faded. Jane Withers passed away on August 7, 2021, in Burbank, California, at the age of 95, ending a career of nearly a century. The cause was stated to be old age and declining health over time. She is remembered as an icon of children's films in Hollywood, as well as a familiar voice in many of Disney's later animated projects. Her net worth in 2021 is estimated at $5 million, largely due to a long career spanning child stardom, television commercials, and cartoon voiceovers. Jane's personal life has been marred by tragedy. After her first marriage to William Moss, which ended due to his drinking and gambling addictions, she battled rheumatoid arthritis, which temporarily paralyzed her, but fortunately she recovered after months in hospital. Her second husband, singer Kenneth Herrera, died suddenly in a plane crash, leaving Jane a widow once again with 5 children to raise. One of them later died of cancer, leaving her heartbroken once again. Still, Jane Withers persevered. She continued to raise her children, maintain her faith, and teach Sunday school at church, just as her compassionate parents had instilled in her. From the passionate Joy Smythe in Bright Eyes, to the brief role of Fanny Pike in The Munsters, to Josephine the plumber in television commercials, Jane never stopped trying to make people laugh. Val Avery as Marty. Val Avery, born Sebu der Abrahamian, was born on July 14, 1924 in Philadelphia. He was 40 when he joined the Munsters in 1964, playing Marty, a minor character, fleeting but with the toughness of a cop or gangster that Avery often played. His piercing eyes and decisive voice made Marty a memorable, if fleeting, presence in the Munster family comedy. Val Avery died on December 12, 2009, at the age of 85, at his apartment in Greenwich Village, New York. ending a life devoted to stage and screen. The cause of death was old age and poor health after many years of practice. He was buried simply, without a formal funeral, reflecting his private and modest personality. Despite appearing in over 100 films and hundreds of television episodes, Avery left behind a modest net worth of about $1 million, as he never pursued a lavish lifestyle. But behind the spotlight, his life was filled with loss. Val Avery suffered from artistic disappointment as he was constantly cast as gangsters or thugs, which gradually dimmed his passion for acting. Even more tragic, his only son died of a drug overdose, leaving an irreplaceable void. His wife, Margot Stevenson, who had already struggled with depression, suffered a series of mental health crises after the death of their son. The family that Avery had built as a fortress finally crumbled before his eyes. In his final years, Avery lived a reclusive and lonely life, with only his memories of the stage and movies to keep him company. His friends still respect and remember him as a towering figure of 20th century American cinema, a man who brought weight and presence to every role, even those lasting only a few minutes. Richard Deacon as Borden T. Richard Lewis. Deacon was born on May 14, 1922, in Philadelphia. In 1964, at the age of 43, he entered the world of Munsters as Borden T., a powerful supporting character whose brief but sharp appearance perfectly suited his expertise in portraying powerful, flamboyant characters. With his tall stature and stern demeanor, Richard Deacon made the role a memorable highlight of the episode, leaving a deep impression on the audience. He died suddenly on August 8, 1984, at the age of 62, with many unfinished projects in his career, including a return to the role of Fred Rutherford in the Disney Channel series Still the Beaver. Deacon's body was cremated and his ashes scattered at sea, closing the chapter of a talented actor who left behind an estimated fortune of $1 million. Richard Deacon never married, lived a quiet and private life, but was later revealed to be gay, one of the few openly gay actors hired by Disney at the time. In addition to acting, Deacon was passionate about cooking, even writing cookbooks and hosting a microwave cooking show in the 1970 sitcom, a hobby that helped him balance his busy filming schedule. Then tragedy struck unexpectedly. His heart stopped beating after years of dedication, cutting off his chance to contribute more to the stage. Deacon lived and died like the roles he often played, strong on the outside but weak on the inside, a testament to the bitter fate of talents who never fully realize their stage dreams. Gary Owens as Dick Willett. Gary Bernard Altman, better known by his stage name Gary Owens, was born on May 10, 1934 in Mitchell, South Dakota. He made his mark in 1965 when he appeared in The Munsters, at the age of 31, as Dick Willett, a brief supporting character who stood out for his humor and distinctive baritone voice. Owens, already a voiceover legend, brought his signature voiceover style to the microphone, making his role stand out from the crowd of guest stars. He died on February 12, 2015 at the age of 80 from complications from diabetes, ending a storied career that included more than 12,000 radio appearances and more than 3,000 animated episodes. His remains were cremated at Hollywood Forever Cemetery, and his ashes were returned to his family. With an estimated net worth of $1 million at the time of his death, Owens left behind not only a massive vocal legacy, but also a lasting legacy in the hearts of generations of fans. Owens was married to Arletta Lee Markell for more than half a century, from 1956 until his death, and they had 2 children, a seemingly peaceful family life that was overshadowed by illness. Diabetes had been taking a toll on Owens's health for years, forcing him to cut back on voiceover projects, although he had previously maintained a high level of performance, continuing to voice the Powdered Toastman on the Ren and Stimpy show, and even appearing on Dynamite Dog Wonder as the voice of the famous Blue Hawk. The life of Gary Owens is the story of a great voice with a brave heart, who overcame dazzling fame in the last years of his illness to devote himself to the audience. Marge Redmond as Miss Hassett. Marjorie Redmond was born on December 14th, 1924 in Cleveland, Ohio. He made his mark when she played Miss Hassett in the Munsters in 1965, at the age of 41. The character of Miss Hassett appeared briefly, but brought a serious demeanor that helped Redmond stand out from the series' guest cast. With her calm demeanor and precise acting, she quickly became a familiar, memorable face, even if only for one episode. Marjorie Redmond passed away on February 10, 2020, at the age of 95, capping off a journey of nearly a century of ups and downs. She died of old age, with no serious underlying medical conditions disclosed, and was cremated quietly, without a lavish funeral, true to her private nature. At the time of her death, Redmond's net worth was estimated at $500,000, the result of decades of hard work on film sets, on Broadway, and lucrative advertising contracts like the Cool Whip commercials that were a hit in the 1970s. Her marriage to actor Jack Weston was once considered a beautiful love story. But in reality, it was a professional relationship, lacking true love. After 18 years in Hollywood, they split up, childless, leaving Redmond to face old age alone in a small apartment. She was a revered big sister figure in the 1967 film The Flying Nun, a role that earned her an Emmy nomination for Sister Jacqueline. But even that spotlight made it difficult for Redmond to find a true home. She chose to continue to nurture her passion for the stage, even working as an understudy for Judy Holliday and Angela Lansbury. But her personal happiness was not complete. The spotlight was never enough to warm the lonely heart of such a quiet artist. Marjorie Redmond closed her life in silence, leaving behind a memory both admirable and bitter for the very Hollywood that once honored her.